if you were able to do a Four Swords LP locally, you need to do the Mega Cube. And the Mega Cube is one of the funny things I always bring up, because it shows not the absurdity of Nintendo, but the absurdity, well, it does show the absurdity of Nintendo. What the fuck am I talking about? It shows the absurdity of what you had to do back in the early 2000s just to play games like that. And luckily, you don't have to do this anymore. Because knowing, well, one, Nintendo actually learned from its mistakes and never did it again, unless you want to count 3DS, DS games. But the whole Mega Cube thing was that to record Four Swords, you needed 5 systems. And I mean that, 5 systems. You need the main system, so whether it be GameCube or Wii, with Four Swords, you plug it in, and then after that, you connect each of the GameCube ports to a GameCube with a Game Boy player, and each of the Game Boy player games have Four Swords in it. Or not Four Swords in it, but each of the Game Boy players work as a Game Boy for Four Swords, and all of them are connected in like a rat's nest full of cables and all that. And for that specific thing, it's fine. You could just use that and that's it. One major recording just for the Game Boy GameCube screen, and then the other 4 just to play it. Because if you use the Mega Cube setup for Four Swords, it shows, or you just play on a GameCube controller and more a better smooth, like silky smooth touch to feel on your hand. And I've not touched my GameCube controller in a while. I have not played GameCube games in a while. God, I miss playing on this fucking controller. But shit. But if you want to record each of the screens, because yes, each of the Game Boy screens has its own screen to work with, where you just not plug it in, but you go to specific caves, specific holes, specific pits, whatever it is. It transitions from the game screen to the Game Boy screen, and I will just call it main screen to Game Boy screen. Or if you're one of the few Wii U kids in the world, you know, one of the few Wii U kids on board, from the TV to the screen on the bottom. And man, it really was just the pre-Wii U. But you have to look from the main screen to your GBA and back and forth. It was fun. But if you want to record all 5 of the screens, you need to actually hook up capture cards to each of them. So a capture card to the main display, and that's fun and dandy to work with. Simple setup. Everyone has done that since they first got a capture card back in the early 2000s. God, don't make me remember Dazzle. I was so gung-ho back when I first started doing videos when I was a teenager of getting a Dazzle capture card. But for the other 4 GameCubes, you actually have to do the exact same thing. Get 4 capture cards and record the GameCube screens, which means you have to have one main recording setup and 4 laptops to record the GBA screen for each specific person. Like, the best way to see how the Mega Cube was like shown, set up and all that, Super Genius talked about it when they were doing his LP of Four Swords, which, holy shit, that getting explained was not the biggest fuck you I've heard in like ingenuity and our consumption, but more in the sense that, dude, that is so much shit for just looking at the screen. Steven Vlogs also has a vlog, funnily enough, of when TRG did Four Swords Adventures, and Holy shit, that actually seeing the Mega Cube just on the floor with people around it was genuinely astonishing. Because I think this was like a norm back in back in the mid 2000s, because the game came out at that time. And if anything, it wasn't that bad in the mid 2000s, because there was a special connector that connected the GBA to the GBA to a GameCube. And when it became to the Wii, that became obsolete. God, man, I still remember seeing the Mega Cube and just sitting there like, damn, this is the peak of what the fuck are you doing? And I would imagine the amount of power consumption that fucking thing would take, because it is like, if you really do think, like, sit down and think about it, having 5 electronics to record, having 5 electronics playing at the same time. The only good part about it is that you don't have to have 5 TVs, because if you had to have 5 TVs, that's more power consumption. Because like, I would just have a specific area or a specific room to be in just to record that, and just see how much you're increasing the price, increasing your electric bill by. It's just something I think about, because Jesus Christ. With the power of emulation, and this is something like not a lot of people like to talk about, emulation. Not because it's a bad term, but more in the sense that gaming companies do not want you to emulate their games, even though they don't want to fucking sell you their damn games, or they want to delist games. Like, I'm gonna go on this area for a bit. The whole like stop killing games bullshit. I am so happy that the thing got signed up to its required amount of signatures, and more people are signing up for that. Because here's the thing, games being virtually killed and virtually taken out from their stores is one of the worst things that can happen. Because you invested so much money into it, so much time into it. So, like, it could be a game that you grew up with, that you know that once you delete it, it gets taken away from the remainder of Earth. Like, Thanos snapped off the existence. It is so dumb that companies can do that. And I like for as someone who plays major Nintendo games, or mostly Nintendo games, I feel that fucking urge, dude. Like, that is a pain I always have to deal with when I'm just buying games as a Nintendo fan. Because stuff like the 3D All-Stars, one of the worst fucking experiences I've ever had to deal with, because it's just a fucking remaster, like a re-release of 3 major Nintendo games on the Switch that is just a limited time sale that was just fucking delisted from the rest of the world. Also, everyone's coming to MySpace, nice. Yeah, that was fun to fucking look at. I'll take the sleeve because I'm not going to the middle. So yeah, that's just a general scenario. And there are just like other games like that where it's just digital only, because they don't want to make a physical version for that game. And those can get delisted any time, and those can get taken out for any time. Best scenario, console versions of the Persona series. And I do mean that, console versions of the Persona series. That is not Persona 5. So if you wanted to play FES or P3P or P4 Original or P4 Golden, and then in the modern times it would just be P3P and Persona 4 Golden. Those are out on Steam, those are out on consoles, and on consoles those are only digital. And I'm really happy that for now Sega and Atlus are not dumb enough to delist games, though knowing Sega, I can see them delisting it because it's funny, getting rid of it because it's funny. Sega sometimes is kind of dumb. Sega's kind of dumb sometimes. And like, I'm just not hoping for that fact. But anyway, back to what I was saying, is that those are only like digital only, because I actually have to go out of my way to see if it was digital only. The day that like those Persona games get taken out, the only way you can play P3P, P4G is getting an actual PSP and an actual, oh god, what do you call those? Like, I have not seen a PSP since fucking freshman year, no, since junior year of high school, and that was 2018. I'm just gonna call them a disc. With those discs and putting it in. The only good part about it is I think for a fact, for me, I actually found a copy for P3 Fest for $20 on Amazon, and it's still a good copy. Came in wrapped and everything. I'm still so lucky to still own a PS2. But imagine the people who can't get a console not for cheap, but from someone they know or someone who's just like not gonna play it anymore. Because most of the consoles I have are like that. Like the PS2 I have, I got more GameCubes than I can account for. There's more shit up there. And like, man, the day the day that developers decide, fuck you, we just want to make money, which is literally what it's going to right now, where companies want to just sell a game, make their profit, and then just fuck off into the ether. Like, they make their profit, they make their game, and then like a year down the line, they say, okay, we're just gonna axe this game because it did everything it could. And it's like, video game preservation is just built for that, because like, there's no good way to play original versions of old games that is there, because even to this day, and like the biggest example for like playing old games on original hardware being terrible is the whole like Wii lineup, or like the whole Nintendo lineup. Nintendo doesn't go out of its way to lower prices, because in their eyes, like, you buy a game, then later it goes on sale, and you're just going to be more down that you bought the game at full price when you could have bought it on sale. Don't understand that reasoning. But hey, fucking, it's Nintendo. What can you believe? But like, I've seen I've gone to my local game store, and I've still seen some games at $40, 40, 45 bucks. I think I've seen one for 50. And no joke, the game I saw for 40, 45 bucks was an actual copy of Super Mario Galaxy 2 for the Wii. They had a copy there that was for 45 bucks. And I'm just sitting there like, dude, why is this 45 bucks? I move over to the 3DS lineup and the DS lineup, and those are like dirt cheap. I bought, I think, a copy of, not Four Swords, A Link Between Worlds, actually, for I think 20 bucks, because that was like pretty good. But other games are just jacked up in price, and other games just don't change their pricing at all. I may be like saying some other shit about it, but damn, dude, it's just like, I'm very vocal about like, not preservation, yes, but I'm also like accessibility to playing games, because there's just people out there who can't play games and would want to play old games but have like no means to getting it, because if they want to play it on original hardware is expensive. It's out there. It's like a dying breed. I'm lucky enough to own some of my games physically, and I still do to this day. That I find ways to keep my games physical. And if I can find a way to make it digital, I will make it digital with the physical copies I have, because if my physical version dies, like most of my Wii games I've been doing, I find a way to make it digital. And there are legal ways to do it. But yeah, going back to, and no joke, now we're finally going back to Four Swords after that fucking tirade. With the power of emulation, you don't have to do the Mega Cube anymore, where instead of like having 5 consoles, 5 laptops, 1 TV, everything you needed to record it, the Dolphin emulator has its integration with MGBA, MGBA being a, in the name, a GBA emulator. And you can have the 4 screens up to record and have fun with. And if anything, it's kind of cool. And what's funnier is that with the GameCube emulator, there's net play. And you can just record it. Or you can record it locally. And you can have basically the GameCube screen and your own screen, just your screen on the docket for you to learn with. And you don't have to do 4 or 5 things. You can just have your main display being the GameCube and your own GBA screen on your screen. You can just deal with that. And then if there's someone stupid enough like me to record it, they can be the ones with all 5 screens up, and it makes it easier to record and it makes it easier to deal with. And I'm super happy that I found a way to do that. But goddamn, it's gonna be a trip. Technically, I already know who I'm gonna be playing 4 Swords with. I do know the group I'm gonna be playing with. But every single one of us is kind of dreading it. Because it's 4 Swords. And technically, I don't think I'm going to be first player in that general scenario because the final person we have in that group that's playing with us is a bigger Zelda fan than I am, and is also like done Zelda enough to, you know, generate them as the main link of the series.